Shanola Hampton, you star in the series Found as Gabby Mosley, who was kidnapped 20 years ago and now dedicates herself to finding missing persons. But of course, she's also harboring a big secret. In season one, she kidnapped her former kidnapper. Uh, so, just starting off, what did you think of that twist when you first read it, or when you first found out about it when it was pitched to you? Like, what were your thoughts?
Well, it was never pitched to me, and I think that's what the genius is of our showrunner NK, is that it was a surprise really to everyone. So even in her, you have to read it. And she told me about the character and what she stood for and the cause that she was fighting for, which and the backstory, but never told me the twist. So I, like the audience, was along for the ride when I was reading it. And then I said, "Is this man in the basement? Is this man in the basement? She has kidnapped her kidnapper." So I was shocked, to say the least. And I also said immediately, this is a part that I have to play. Not only is she layered, not only is the topic relevant and something that we should be discussing and looking for those who are in underserved communities, but we're doing it with such a brilliant twist. I knew that this was something I had to do.
And playing a character who has been through such trauma in her life, is it challenging to get into that mindset?
No, not for me. I'm very, I'm not a method actor by any means, because I believe in being a human being when I'm not working. I want to serve the story well, and I want to be honest. So those moments for me are very honest and very raw. But then when the camera goes off, I go back quickly to Shanola. If not, I would be in a ball somewhere. It's just something that doesn't serve me in my life, to constantly be in the humdrum state. I try to understand the character, relate to the character. So it's easy. It's an easy switch to turn on. But I really turn to Gabby Mosley when they say action. And then I turn right back to Shanola when they say cut.
So yeah, you don't have any like specific methods for like turning that switch back to Shinola?
It's weird. No, not anything specifically. It's just something that I've trained myself to do. I'm an empath by nature. And so I knew I feel people's emotions in a very, very real way. So I had to be very conscious about, in my work, not taking on the emotions of my character. So now it's so ingrained in my body that work is work, and where I'm serving the story, I'm serving the story, and I'll be honest there. But when I am not, as soon as it's almost like a hypnosis, right? When they say stop. So when I hear action, boom, Gabby, when I say haircut, I go right back and I snap right out of it.
Now you've got this psychological duel going on between you and Mark Paul Gosselaar, which is one of the show's most compelling aspects. How did you two work together to get to those intense places?
Sometimes you meet somebody and it's instant. It's rare. It's happened to me one other time in my career with Steve Howie, who is still, my love and best friend. And Mark Paul and I are very yin and yang. So when you meet me, I jump up on you, I go crazy. Everybody on the set is like freaking out. He got me right away. I'm sure. Well, let's say if he was here right now, he'd be like, I was like, what is this girl and is this real? That's how he usually tells the story. And then he comes to realize that it is. But it was instant. It was one of those things that once we lock eyes on the screen, he's an actor that doesn't try too hard, which I have an appreciation for. I can always sniff out the ones that have practiced in their mirror exactly what they're going to do. And it just annoys me, because then you miss the organic, you miss connecting with a human being. And that's really why we do what we do. He's not that. He looks at me, we lock in, and it is nothing that we rehearse. We never rehearse scenes together ever from day one. And the camera rolls and we just roll with it. The other thing about Mark Paul and I both is we feel safe with one another. So you feel safe to play. There's no judgment if you make a choice and it might be off, which hasn't happened, because generally speaking, if one of us makes a choice, the other one counters the choice. So it's a really beautiful dance that we were able to do. And it was really, truly an organic, and still is a very organic dance.
And the show is also an ensemble piece. There are many different characters in Gabby's orbit, and they're all dealing with their own personal traumas. They're all really loyal to her. How do you develop those close knit character relationships with the cast?
This cast is pretty darn easy. What I would say is that when you meet human beings who are actually quality, kind human beings. And we connected, all of us, so much on family first aspect. We're all family oriented people, like in a real sense of the word. And when you have those kinds of genuine characters, the Gabrielle Walshes of the world, and Arlen and Karin, who has become my best friend here, and Kelly Williams, the legend, who serves the people on screen but is so humble. It really is something. We have a good time together, and we really like each other, which is really nice to come to work. So it doesn't even feel like work oftentimes, especially on full cast situation room days, because, Karin, who's right here in my eyesight, he makes me laugh and act like a fool. And you would not believe this is hard done. It's actually like a goofball.
The show renewed for a second season back in November. Were you still filming, or had you finished season one by that
We
time?
had already finished, and I'm gonna be honest. I thought I was going to hear earlier. I thought the first episode was going to air because I knew we had something, okay? And so we were waiting and waiting and waiting for the second season pickup. And I'm saying, well, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? And so we were back in LA already, and strike was happening, all of those things, and then we got it. But what was more shocking than the second season picked up, because I really did believe in the show, was the fact that we got 22 episodes, so double almost the season, to tell beautiful stories, to really flesh out characters, to discover and find more people who are not necessarily being looked for. That was a shock and a blessing, and super great.
Is it also like daunting in any way? Because you are front and center of the show, 22 episodes,
Mm.
network drama. I like how does that compare to say when you were on Shameless?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely different. I'd be lying to you if I said to you I don't feel the weight of what the role is to be the lead of a network television show, to be a producer. I take people's I feel very responsible for making sure that people are okay. And I feel very responsible for making sure that the network knows that they made the right decision by putting their money on us. I take it very seriously as a person of color to represent, so that more doors can open for people who are of color, to know that you can carry stories on network television. I take it very personal to be a person of color on network TV with dreadlocks. So I do feel responsible. And I'll be honest with you, that first week when you're waiting for the numbers, even though you know you have something great, no matter what everybody says, no matter what anybody's logic would be of why something is a success, I knew, and it is true to even when we go in season two, it all falls on me. If it does not work, it is my fault by all intents purposes. That you feel that. And if it does great, I know it was because the team has done such a wonderful job. But I feel completely responsible for a lot of people.
And you mentioned opening doors. Like this is a show with a black woman at the forefront, a black creator, a black woman creator, produced by black women. What do you think that point of view brings to the show creatively?
I think it brings the heart, and I think it brings the soul. I think we as a culture are so tapped into a human aspect, right? We've had to overcome a lot of things in our world through the society, the history of, and without making excuses to overcome it, and to just get to the root of what we need to do, getting things done. I think that you see that in our stories. I think you see that in Gabby Mosley, that yes, she's had a really tough thing happen to her, a really crappy thing, but her power is that she used it to do and help other people. And I think that you get that because you have females who have heart, and you get people of color who have been through some sort of struggle and still have had to come out and really fight their way back from that. And that those stories can be told in a way that's not technical, but a way that is really full of soul.
And season one ended on a note that really changed the dynamic in a major way. For starters, Gabby told her team, what has been going on, between her and her former kidnapper. We don't actually hear, in that finale exactly what she says to them or how she says it. What did you think about playing it that way, and how did you play that scene, knowing that we wouldn't be like hearing the specifics?
I think the true art is not in the words, but it's in the emotion. I think that if you watch a lot of the shows that you really loved and you watched it without the sound on, you'd be amazed at how much of the story you can read and feel through just watching. So to have NK and her genius make it very clear that this was going to be a moment that no one would hear but feel, I think it was impactful. I think it is something that has not been done really on network television for sure. So it takes a risk because oftentimes when, our audience is so smart and sometimes we give them so much information and take away the feeling. And we didn't do that in this instant. We really allowed the audience to go through the emotions, to use their imagination. What is she saying? How she's saying, oh, look, she's left. Oh, wait, there's another one. Oh, goodness, but Don stays, and they're all going down to the ground together. So then as an audience, you're just feeling, and there is no distraction of words. So I was really excited to do the scene. I was really excited. I did speak when there was something written, but it was never ever going to be heard. You will get to hear it, I think, later on. But for that moment, for that specific, it was all of us together just in a feeling. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that's what's so beautiful about being an artist and delivering to the audience emotion.
And then you have that season one cliffhanger where it turns out that Sir is now, hiding in Lacey's house. What did you think about that? And of course, the amount of responsibility that Gabby must feel for that.
Uh,
Well,
well, the
if she knew.
cliffhanger was, well, let me, as an audience member, I was like, yes, sir. Serve the people. This is the finale right here. And where are we going? As the character Gabby Mosley, I think what you'll see, we start where we left off when we come back to season 2. So wherever that feeling was, if you haven't seen the show, catch up on Peacock. If you have seen the show, rewatch the finale so you're ready to get back in that feeling of what it is. Because we start with a bang, and Gabby is completely responsible. She doesn't just feel it; she knows it. She's brought this person back in their lives, with the help of Don, and and so there's going to be, not to mention, this is Lacey is a sister to her. So there's even more. She has a love for everyone at M&A, but their history goes way beyond when this started. So that responsibility for Gabby, that guilt eats her away. No one lets her get away with this thing. I would say there's a universal, for the most part, with the exception of the Dawn character, lack of compassion for where she is. And she doesn't have compassion for herself, nor does she long for compassion because she knows she did a very bad thing and she's put everybody in a crazy situation.
Now you're in production on season 2.
Yes,
Obviously,
right now.
you can't give us any specifics, but like, what can you tell us about, you know what you're feeling about the storylines, how they're developing, how things are going?
Um, I can tell you that we come out with a bang, and then we continue with a bang, 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 and then we do like a bangity bang, 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 ba bang, 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 and then we go pop, 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 bang, and then we go oh, and then and then no, and then oh my gosh, what is happening? That I can tell you that season 2 does not disappoint. NK and our group of writers, they have served the people and they served them well. I am in awe of what they've been able to come up with story wise. You get to see more of some of the other characters' history. We really get into it and we leave you with cliffhangers, just like season 1, but even bigger ones and more that it's always going to leave you wanting more. And that's all you can ask for in a project.
And as a producer of the show, in addition to being an actor, do you know generally where the show is going to go, where the story is going to take you, or do you still get surprised from script to script?
No, we know we all kind of get a lay of the land of our characters, and Kay's really good about that, of telling you where kind of the season's gonna go. So the surprises for me and the scripts usually come from the whodunit of it all, but not necessarily with my story arc or something that's specifically happening for Gabby Mosley.
I want to congratulate you on the show, which you are busily working on as we speak. And thank you so much for talking with me about it today.
I appreciate your time. I'm glad we were able to get it in. Thank you so much.